Hey guys, it's Brett. I just want to make a quick video. I'm just having my Saturday, and I remembered this week in class, someone asked me about how to do pigeon pose and the exact alignment, and they just wanted to go into a little more detail, and I thought it would make such a great video. So I'm just wearing my jeans and pretty casual here, but I did want to show you a few things about pigeon just so you can use them in your classes. So safe way to get into pigeon is if you're in all fours. We'll just take the right shin forward first. And here's the thing about pigeon that you need to know, okay? That basically the more your shin is parallel to the front of the mat, so we see my front of the mat like this, the shin very parallel to the front of the mat is going to create a deeper stretch. The shin being less parallel to the mat, so my mat comes with me, the heel being closer into the groin is going to make it less of a stretch. Now, a crucial thing you need to think about here is that in pigeon, you want your left hip to be coming down towards the floor. So sometimes I see people in class and their hips like up here, right? So you want to be thinking, we're in right pigeon right now, that the left hip is constantly rolling down. And when you think that the left hip is constantly rolling down, it makes sense that the stretch would be less when the shin is closer into the body, and that the stretch would be more intense if the shin is parallel to the front of the mat. So usually, you need to pick where you need to be for your range of motion. And a lot of people can benefit from putting a block underneath the hip, and I'll show that on the other side. But if you see I come down here, obviously I'm not going to get a big stretch if I'm it's kind of like cheating, right? If I let the left hip be high. I want to think of rolling the left hip down towards the floor so that I start to feel the stretch in my right hip. So if your hips are a teeter-totter, when we all come into pigeon, the left hip's going to be a little high, right? You want to begin lowering it down energetically using your body and your breath. And even if you think you're taking it too low, trust me, you're not. Let's look at the other side so I can show you the block variation. Left shin, let's say we just take it, kind of in between, right? So it's not parallel to the mat, and it's not super close into the groin. Now, a lot of people can benefit, especially if you can't even touch the ground here, just by bringing the ground to you and taking a block underneath the hip like this, right? And now all of a sudden the pose gets a lot more interesting because have a chance to begin lowering that right hip now to the floor. So right now the hips are teeter-totter like this, and we're lowering the right hip to the floor. So try this at home, and you can use a book if you don't have blocks. And if you don't have a fancy block, look, a couch cushion works just as well. Maybe it's softer. Put it up under there. But then again, remember the secret, whether you're using the block or not, is that you can't just hang out here. You have to use the energetics of your own body, right, to begin rotating the opposite hip down, right? So if you're in left pigeon, think that you want the right hip to spiral down. If you're in right pigeon, right, you need to think the left hip needs to spiral down. And then if you want to take it a step further, I like to think of the left hip spiraling down, but then also of pressing back into both hips. So I'm thinking of the left hip spiraling down, but then I'm also thinking of energetically widening into what I call the back door of the right hip. So if you want to try this with me, come into your pigeon, right shin forward, lower the left hip down. Okay, so you feel it intensifies the stretch on the right hip. And now then you're just widening your energy back and to the right. So back and to the right, that's that way, back and to the right. And it's kind of like you're widening back into your own hip. So hopefully I don't sound like a crazy person and some of that makes sense. Hopefully it's helpful. If you use the pillow or the block and it still isn't feeling comfortable and isn't feeling good, take pigeon on your back. Even if the teacher is not instructing it, just take this version of pigeon instead of the traditional pigeon variation. This is such a great option. It's the exact same stretch. It's just you're not going to hurt other parts of your body while doing it. So do it on your back if it hurts you to do it the other way. And it'll also be safer on your knees. If you're doing it on your back, right, feet flexed. And if you're doing traditional pigeon, remember, foot flex. I see so many people just cop out and not flex the front foot. That's protecting your knee joint. That's why you need to flex the foot when you're doing pigeon. It's going to make the stretch intense, but it's also going to make it safer, right? That's the most important thing, safer for your knee joint. So I hope this little video was helpful. If so, give it a thumbs up. So I'm gonna get on with my weekend. I hope that you guys have a great weekend too, and that you enjoyed this little video. Again, give it a thumbs up if this was helpful. If you have more questions about specific poses like pigeon, make sure to leave them for me in the comments, on my Facebook page, on Twitter, so I can do more little videos where I answer your questions. Jump over to brettlarkin.com for my free Yoga for Abs class, for my new course in which I mail you my 5 favorite yoga props, bonus videos, and so much more. From my heart and my home to yours, namaste.